Hi everyone, it's Amanda again, and tonight I'm going to be reading chapters 11 and 12 of Nim's Island. Chapter 11. It's a nightmare, Alex groaned, keen in travel agents and the internet search engine. She's alone on the island and nobody knows about it except me. Who's been afraid of airplanes and oceans since my uncle whirled me through the air and into a swimming pool? I like being in my flat, she moaned, clicking Pacific charter flights. With my books, my computer, and my imaginary friends. People who live in my head and go away when I put their story away. Places that fit into maps and pictures, animals that don't smell or eat or leave hair on the carpet. There's only one thing to do, she said, clicking back to her email. To Jack Russo at Explorer.net from aka at Incognito.net. Dear Nim, all my heroes are just pretend. Real people aren't usually as brave or as strong or smart or lucky as the heroes in my story. Maybe that's why it's so fun to make them up or read about them. Because I'm not tall, dark, and handsome, I'm certainly not brave, and I'm not a man. But even if I'm not a hero and you don't need rescuing, I'd still love to come see you. And the island, and of course Fred, Selkie, and Chica. What kind of dog is Selkie? I'm guessing that she's a Saint Bernard if she weighs more than your father. And Fred's little, a poodle? Love, Alex. P.S. My phone number is 155-897-346. What's yours? The letter waited all the next day till Nim checked her email again. She stared at the screen. She read the letter out loud, and the words stayed the same. She turned the computer off and ripped out the plug, but the words danced in her head. Alex Rover was not a hero. Alex Rover was a woman, and she wasn't even brave. Outside, the evening was peaceful and still, but inside, Nim was a rage, hotter than the Fire Mountain's lava, and wilder than a whirlpool in a storm. She felt angry and cheated, tricked and stupid, lost and lonely, sad and confused. And the feelings were stronger than the words could say. They jolted and shoved, spun, crowded, and exploded. Her shout rang across the water. Birds settling for the night flapped into the sky, and the king roared an answer from Sea Lion Point. Selkie, barking worriedly, hopped across the sand. Fred peered from under his rock. Nim was afraid that if she used the laptop, she'd punch the keys right through the keyboard. She grabbed a piece of paper and a pencil and marched back outside. To Alex Rover, it was horrible to trick me even if you didn't mean to, because whenever I was really lonely or scared or bored, I thought about what you would do and then I could do it too, which was stupid if you're not a hero. And I wish I'd never done it, and I especially wish that I'd never wished that you were my father instead of Jack. I will never forgive you. Goodbye forever, from Nim. Scrabbling in the dark, she found sticks and branches for a fire, and when it was blazing, threw her letter on top so that the smoke would carry it far, far away to wherever Alex Rover lived, and she would smell it and know just how angry Nim was. Selkie and Fred crept up beside her. Alex Rover lied to me, Nim told them, and threw another stick on the fire. Selkie barked low in her chest. Well, not exactly lied, Nim muttered, and rubbed tears on Selkie's warm fur. But she's not a hero. I thought I knew who Alex Rover was. He was my friend, and now he's gone. Selkie grunted comfortingly. You won't change into something else, will you? Nim asked, not sure whether she was joking or not. I won't wake up tomorrow and find out you're a mermaid. Selkie grunted again, a little louder. Alex thinks you're a Saint Bernard, and she thinks Fred is a poodle. She must be crazy. Suddenly, she began to giggle. She thought you were dogs, and I thought she was a hero. The giggle became a laugh. The laugh became a bellow, and she was rolling over and over on the sand, hiccuping and laughing or crying. She didn't know which. Until Fred sneezed and Selkie barked to make her stop, whichever it was. And she knew there was another reason that she'd sent the letter in a way that Alex couldn't read it. So when the sun came up the next morning, she turned on the laptop again. To aka Incognito.net from Jack Russo at Explorer.net. Dear Alex Rover, maybe you didn't try to trick me. I wanted to know someone brave because I'm not. I think maybe I accidentally tricked you too. Selkie and Fred aren't dogs, but you will like them. When are you coming? From Nim. To Jack Russo at Explorer.net from aka at Incognito.net. Dear Nim, now, love Alex. For 2 nights and 2 days, Alex had been planning, sorting, packing. Her time had switched to island time. She slept when it was night there and got up in the dark to turn on her computer at the island's dawn. She'd refuse to think about what she'd do if Nim said no, because she didn't quite believe that Nim had stopped being lonely, and she didn't quite know if Jack would really be home soon. And because nothing in her life had ever been this important, she packed a first aid kit, her laptop and cell phone, 2 notebooks and 2 pens, the Swiss Family Robinson and Robinson Crusoe, a toothbrush, a hairbrush, soap, 2 t-shirts, 2 pairs of shorts, 1 pair of jeans, 1 sweater, 3 sets of underwear and socks, and the map with the island marked with a dot. Then she picked up her suitcase and locked the door behind her. Chapter 12. The first plane was a jet, big and solid, with nearly 400 passengers and more crew than Alex could count. "Alex Rover," exclaimed the flight attendant. "The world-famous adventure writer?" "I guess so," said Alex. "Come and meet the pilot. He'll be so excited." "You," Alex told herself, "are a weak-kneed, spineless jellyfish." "Pardon? I'd love to," said Alex, and followed her into the cockpit. "Alex Rover," said the pilot, blushing red as a stoplight. "I always wondered, would you like to fly the plane?" "No thanks. Not exciting enough for you?" And he showed her interesting things about the jet's instrument panel and engines. All Alex could think about was what a very long way down the ground was. Then the ground turned to ocean, and that didn't make her feel happier at all. They landed after the sun had set, and when Alex found the little plane that would take her to the island nearest to Nim's, the pilot said they couldn't leave until morning. "I can't land on that island in the dark," he said. "I'm not a daredevil like you." "I'm not a daredevil," Alex wanted to say. "I just need to get to Nim's island right away." In the hotel room, the feeling was stronger. She felt like a tiger in a cage, trying to burst free. Instead, she checked her email. To aka@incognito.net from Jack Russo at explorer.net. "Dear Alex, I can't believe you're really coming. How will you get here and how long will it take? I forgot to give you my phone number before. It's 022-446-579. I've never talked to anyone before except Jack, but I guess it works the same way. From Nim. To Jack Russo at explorer.net from aka@incognito.net. Dear Nim, curses, I can't go any further tonight. And now it's too late to phone. I'm flying to Sunshine Island at dawn to meet a boat from the adventure cruise company Tropo Tourist. They've been as friendly as a salesman with a sick car to sell, and have offered to take me right to your island, though I haven't told them yet where it is. Nim, it's been so much fun writing to you. No matter what happens, I'm glad I tried to come and meet you. See you tomorrow. Love, Alex." Nim woke up when it was still dark, excited as Christmas. She switched on the lamp and checked the email. Alex hit the alarm clock, and it went on ringing. She reached for her phone. "They're the bad guys," a girl's voice shouted. "Who?" said Alex. "What?" And then she realized, the Tropo Tourists. "They chased the whale my mother died. Now they want to bring people to stare at us and bother the animals, and Jack hates them. You can't bring them here." "No," said Alex. "I think we need to fix them once and for all." "I've got 4 hours. I'll think of something." The strangest thing, Nim thought when she hung up, was that it hadn't felt like strange talking to Alex. By the time the sun was properly up, Alex had showered, dressed, and eaten a hotel breakfast and was waiting at the airport. But she still hadn't thought of how to get Nim's island and keep it secret from the Tropo Tourist. "Any daredevil plans?" the pilot joked as he started the engine. "Going to parachute out halfway for your next book?" "That's not a bad idea," Alex muttered. "I could be more scared jumping out of a plane than staying in." The pilot went as pale as Alex's knuckles. "But there's no land in between here and where we're going." Alex studied the map and decided he was right. Nim's island was too far away for a detour in this little plane. Besides, she still had to meet the Tropo Tourists, the real bad guys, the reason that Nim didn't have a mother. If Alex didn't turn up, they might go on looking for Nim's island. This time, they might find it. Alex's fear disappeared as suddenly and completely as if it had fallen out of the plane without a parachute. Instead, she was angry. For the first time, she knew exactly how her hero felt when he was fighting the bad guys, and she muttered, "I'm going to win." The pilot was still worried that she was going to jump out the window. "We're nearly there," he said. "The airport's just past the sailing school. You can see the little boats now." Alex stared out and tried not to notice that her stomach was diving faster than the plane. "That's interesting," she thought. "I can feel angry and sick at the same time." "Do they give lessons?" she asked, because if she was talking, she might have thrown up. "Give lessons, sell boats. Is your next book about sailing?" "Partly," said Alex. She couldn't talk very well because a sneaky little fear had crept back, and she was holding her breath to help the plane land. 2 hours later, she was wetter than she'd ever been and knew more than she'd ever wanted to about the way small sailboats flip upside down and how it feels to be the person flipping off of them. But she also knew how to get back on and push the boat right side up, and how to pull the sails and steer. And she was the owner of a small blue sailboat. "Not bad for a beginner," the sailing school owner said, pocketing her money. "But don't go too far from the shore." Alex tried to smile. "Funny," the woman continued. "You got the same name as the adventure writer, but I don't reckon he needs sailing lessons." "Neither do I now," Alex told herself. "I'm ready to go," and she tried to believe it. She loaded her suitcase into the little boat and sailed out of the sailing school cove, around the corner to the pink and purple Tropo tourist ships. "Ahoy there," she shouted, jumping onto the wharf and standing up as tall and as brave as she could. The captain came running down the gangplank. "You're Alex Rover, but what a delightful surprise. Are you going to write a book about us?" asked one of the crew. "Maybe," said Alex. "We'll have to make a good impression," the captain said, smiling and trying to suck his stomach in behind his Tropo t-shirt. "I'm sure you will," said Alex. "Do you mind if I bring my little boat?" "You there," the captain shouted at two of the crew. "Hoist this boat up on the deck. Now," he went on, rubbing his hands excitedly, "can you tell us where this island is?" Alex pointed to a spot on the chart, a little way east of Nim's Island. "We'd love to hear more about it," said the captain, and started the motor. The crew gathered around as Alex began. Alex was a storyteller. She spent her life telling stories on paper, and she made people laugh and cry and hold their breath, but she had never told a story as important as this. She spoke quietly, and the crew huddled near, caught in the net of her words. "Long, long ago, when the world was young, a volcano began to grow, deep under the sea. It grew slowly, day by day and year by year, pooling lava from the heart of the earth, rolling, boiling, melting rock, hotter than fire, hot as the sun. Then one bright summer day, a day just like today, a day just like a million other bright summer days, the mountain under the sea exploded." She hissed the word out, her hands and eyes opening wide. The crew shivered with a roar that shook the earth. A storm came. Lightning flashed and thunder crashed. Winds howled and waves towered. From the heart of the volcano, melted rock and boiling lava poured up and out, higher and higher. And when it had finished and the boiling rock had cooled the stone, the tiny underwater mountain had become a full-grown island with its head peeking out from the sea. "Now some islands," Alex went on as the Tropo tourists sat silent and still around her, "become peaceful once they've been born from the sea. But this island didn't. This island stayed hot and angry. Its volcano still shoots fire, boiling lava, tumbles down its slopes, and the stench of hell floats in its mist. Its rocks are black and sharp, and its cliffs are steep. No golden sand?" the captain asked hopefully. "A little," Alex admitted, "but in front of the sands, curved from the rocks at the one end of the cliffs at the other, is a maze of rocky reef." The crew shivered. "Lions of the sea," Alex continued, "live on the rocks, and the smartest sea lions you will ever meet, the fiercest and the bravest in all the world, ready to fight and protect their home. And if a boat could pass the sea lions and find its way through the sword-sharp maze and not choke in the rotten egg gas or fry in the boiling lava when it reached the beach, it would meet the dragons." "Dragons?" squeaked a crew member. "Small dragons, but so many they could cover the sand, and like the sea lions, they will fight bravely to save their island." She hurried on before anyone could ask how. "There are birds, too. Birds who are big and strong and tough enough to live on a mountain that shoots fire and choking gas. birds who are so quick and agile that they can swoop down and snatch the hairs right out of a person's head. The captain twitched his hat nervously around his ears. Why do you want to go to such a terrible place? It sounds even worse than that island last week, one of the crew said. I'm not going there. You don't need to, Alex said. You're going to lower my little boat and I'll sail the rest of the way. But why? The captain repeated. To see if it's how my hero escapes from the bad guys, Alex lied, because she knew that if they saw the island, they might forget her story. The captain giggled. That makes us sound like the bad guys. It depends, said Alex, and began the second part of her story because it wasn't enough to make them frightened, and now she wanted to make them feel so bad that they would never ever bother Nim and Jack again. My hero is a sad, lonely man who once lived happily with a lady hero and their baby, helping the world with research and science. But one day, while the lady hero was deep under the sea studying a whale, a noisy boat came to spy on them. My hero begged that noisy boat to go away, to be quiet, to stay away from the frightened whale. But they laughed, were louder, and chased that whale so that it swam right to the bottom of the sea, and the lady hero was never seen again. She whispered the last words. One of the crew sniffed, and one blew his nose, and the others wiped their eyes. Are they the bad guys? Alex asked. You'll have to decide, because that's not the end of the story. Now my heroes live on this fiery, dangerous island, far away from good people and bad. But what if the noisy boat came back, with people to trample their lonely home, to fight their sea lion and dragon friends, and destroy the science they're giving to the world? Tears dripped onto Tropo shirts. There were gulps and sobs and soggy noses. That would be a terrible ending, said the crew. You can't end the story like that. And they sobbed some more. Alex looked at the captain. The captain didn't care about Nim and Jack, but he was afraid of sea lions and dragons and boat-ripping reefs. He was very, very afraid of being in Alex's book because people wouldn't pay lots of money to go on Tropo tourist tours if they knew the captain was a bad guy. His eyes were sharp and as cold as a shark's, but he tried to smile. A story should have a happy ending, he said. Your heroes can stay alone on their island, and the tourists can find somewhere else to explore.